The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to the IDX Broker and IDX Broker Original Migration webinar. My name is Luke Walsh, and today I'm going to walk you through migration questions and also just the process for migrating. We're going to cover a lot of details today. This webinar is recorded, so it'll be available on the YouTube channel, and also we'll probably post it to our knowledge base once we get it live. It usually takes a day or two to get the recorded webinar out, and so but you can expect to receive an email within a day or two after after the webinar. So if you have to jump out for any reason, you'll be able to come back and review some of the details. So just to start out, I want to talk a little bit about who this is for. And those of you that are on the call, you're probably familiar with IDX Broker Original. We posted the notice for this webinar in the original dashboard. We also promoted it online, but primarily in the dashboard. And so presumably you have IDX Broker Original now, or you may be a developer that works with IDX Broker Original, and you may be wondering how to migrate clients over to Platinum and how that's going to work. So that's really who this is for. And so again, if you have any questions, you'll want to post those into the questions tab. And what I'll do is, as each question comes in, I'll determine whether it's a question that should be addressed at that time or if it needs to be addressed later. So if I don't get to your question right away, it doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. It means that I'm eventually going to get to it. And if I don't get to it on the webinar for whatever reason, then I'll make sure to send you an email, or we'll have somebody in support take a look at the question. Now, the other thing is that if you have any questions that are specific to your account, so let's say specific to IDX Broker Platinum or IDX Broker Original, let's say you're in the middle of migration, you want to know something about either both of your accounts, or you have any questions around that, you can send those. You can either call our support line, or you can email them at help@idxbroker.com, and somebody will get back to you right away. Our turnaround time is usually fairly quick during business hours. We usually can get to those within a few hours. So with that said, again, the webinar is recorded, so you'll have access to the webinar after the fact, and then of course in the questions area, post any questions that you may have. So with that said, I'm going to kick it off by just pointing you to, and this is a link. I'll put this, copy this, and send this to all of you in case you want to follow along. So that's the link to our migration FAQ page, and this is on the Platinum, in the Platinum knowledge base. There's also an FAQ in the IDX Broker Original knowledge base as well. Eventually these two knowledge bases will be, we're hoping to integrate them both, but because they are two different products, we've created two different knowledge bases to keep things separate and sort of clean. So with the migration FAQ and this page, you can see that there's a number of questions that are answered by this FAQ, and I'll just go through some of these questions, and some of them you may not be relevant to some of you, but I'm going to try to cover all of them. And then if you have any questions as I'm going over these, again, post those questions into the questions area. So the question is, the first one is, do I need to fill out a new sign-up application? No, you don't need to sign up. There's actually a link. When you click on this link to steps to migrating to IDX Broker Platinum, and I'll show you that page in a minute, it'll take you to the link that you need to use in order to migrate. Do I have to pay a setup fee? The answer is no, and that's whether you're with us on the retail side, and don't have a designer or developer, or with the developer, you're working with one of the IDX Broker Platinum developers. Price difference. Yes, there's a price difference. It's $20 more per month, and that's $20 on each account, on every type of account. So we have agent accounts, team accounts, and office accounts. They each pay a flat $20 more per month for Platinum. The other question is, how long does it take for migration to take place, to complete? Usually it takes us anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks to process your request. And again, that request, I'll send that link, the link to the request page, but it takes a week or 2, week or 3 to process that. And the reason for that is because we want to make sure that everything's set up correctly before we send you the credentials, the IDX Broker Platinum credentials. And I'll get into in a minute. I'll get into how that migration works and how much time you have to migrate and so on. So another big question that people have is around what happens to the information in the original account. Well, for one thing, once the original account is disabled, and actually I'll jump to that aspect right now. How much downtime do I have, or is there any downtime on the original site? You're actually given a 30-day, and that's this question here. You're given 30 days to migrate over from IDX Broker Original to IDX Broker Platinum. And the way it works is that as soon as you submit that migration request, and then we have Platinum ready for you, and we ship the Platinum credentials out to you. At that point, you have 30 days to migrate over. So you need to migrate your links over, replace widgets, and so on. So you have a 30-day window in which both accounts are open, but you're only paying for one account, essentially. So we give you 30 days to make that transition over to the new product. So another question that people have, and this is a big one, is what is migrated? What gets migrated? And the list is right here. It's not a complete list because there's some other details down here at the bottom. You can see control panel settings. Some control panel settings don't migrate over completely just because Platinum handles things a little differently. It's like moving to an entirely new product. But with the advantage of you can keep your global wrapper, you can keep your saved links, any saved links you have. All of your subheaders remain. Any custom city, zip, or county lists remain. All your leads saved searches, those are migrated over. Your billing information and history, your contact details, of course, and company information. And then if you're an office, all your users and offices get ported over. Now, the question around this is what will happen with other things that don't get migrated over? Well, you have page wrappers don't get migrated. Widgets don't get migrated, and that's kind of a big one. The widgets in Platinum, and I'll show you the widgets panel a little bit briefly for those of you that aren't already in the process of migrating. The widgets in Platinum are handled differently. They're actually managed from within the control panel, and you can save them. You have a manager for widgets. So there's a lot more flexibility and control and customization that can be done, but it also brings everything into the dashboard, whereas the widgets, you used to just pull the widgets and you'd put them on your page and that would be that. Now the other thing is that those don't get migrated. So whatever is already on your page now, it's not going to redirect and then automatically display new widgets. And the part of the reason for that is because the CSS around, the default CSS around all those widgets has changed completely. In Platinum, we've taken a bit more of a modern approach or modern design to the default CSS. And so because of that, that's also why the custom CSS doesn't get ported over. If we ported all the custom CSS, and that doesn't mean that in that 30-day window you can't copy and paste any custom CSS over into Platinum and then try to experiment with it. It's just that if we moved all the custom CSS, it would not work with the Platinum templates because the templates they're completely different. As I said, you have different designs, slightly more modern templates, and we're continuing to focus on the templates and the front-end design in Platinum. The other thing is control panel settings may not function the same way in Platinum. There's certain settings that just are not exactly the same, and actually Platinum has a lot of new settings. So, those of you that have a chance, you may want to review some of the webinars around Platinum and what Platinum has to offer in terms of new functionality. So that's that kind of covers the basics of what gets migrated. Now, I have a question here in the questions tab around redirects, and So that's one thing that we cover here to some degree. And, that's a complicated issue because the way it works is when we redirect a 301 or do a 301 redirect of all custom links. So any saved links, custom links, those will automatically be redirected to the new custom links page in Platinum. So we migrate all of those custom links, and then we redirect to the correct page, right? So that means that those old pages that were indexed, they're going to get re-indexed with the new URL. Google will just treat it as, oh, okay, we're going from this page to this page. So we also redirect some of the system links, so map search and things like that. We redirect those pages to your new map search, some of those system links. What we're not able to do is do a direct, 301 redirect from any results, any sort of results page that might have been indexed, any details page that might have been indexed, and redirect those to, to the new results and details pages. And so what we do is we handle it by creating 404s for those. And so this can be a little bit surprising to some people that may manage their website with Google Webmaster Tools, and they're in the process of migrating over, and then all of a sudden the report just blows up with 404s, and Google Webmaster Tools makes it seem as if, oh, I'd better fix all these 404s right away. Now, we would love to be able to 301 redirect from every page to the exact match in Platinum, but it simply has not been possible to date. Now that doesn't mean that we're not trying or not looking at ways to do that, but it's just to date we have not found a good way to do that that is seamless and actually will work. So again, we 404 those, and again, back to your Webmaster Tools and the 404s. And for those of you that are not familiar with what a 301 is or a 404, a 301 redirect basically tells the search engine, hey, this old page is no longer really the URL that is, the URL has changed for this page, and so permanently change the URL of this page and treat this page, just erase that old page and replace it with this new page. A 404 tells Google that this URL, this page technically doesn't exist in the system, and then it basically tells Google that, okay, well, that's fine, it doesn't exist. So then Google, it's actually separate from the crawling of your new site, so your new Platinum site, and Google will start crawling that site fairly quickly. In fact, we've seen a huge uptick in the number of pages indexed in Platinum relative to IDX Broker Original. But there's this sort of pain period that happens in between where there are 404s and they show up in the reports, and it looks to the search engine like, oh, that page doesn't exist. That's not something that is reason for panic, and the reason why is actually listed here in the Google Webmaster Tools blog, and this is from May 2nd, 2011, and I'll expand this a little bit so that it's a little more visible. But they highlight here that and this is a common question that we get when people that use Webmaster Tools, they see the 404s in the Webmaster Tools and they go, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. Well, it's not. It's a 404 error because we're not able to 301 redirect to those, but it's the next best thing to a 301 redirect, because it's telling the search engine, oh, this is a legitimate page or this is a page that used to be in there that we can now de-index. Most of those are results or details pages that have a very low page value. So you're not actually losing any juice in the sense of losing, link juice, because they're typically, they're not like a custom link, where a custom link might have a, page value of, or like a page rank value of 35 or something. These are most likely going to have a value of 1 or 2 or something along those lines. So you're not losing juice to your site by having those 404s. And what it does is it tells Google, it's the next best thing, because it tells Google, oh, these are 404s. Okay, we'll just go, we'll, remove those, and then we'll just go crawl the page, the site, and take a look at the sitemap on this new site or this this domain, and find all the pages that we need. And again, that's exactly what's happened. It's just there's a period of time where those old links stop working. Now, note that would happen. That would happen whether you switched from if you switched from our solution to any solution. And with IDX Broker Platinum, what it does is that we're able to port over the 301s, or we're able to do 301 redirects for custom links and your system links. But again, just on the results and details and on the widgets, we're not able to do anything there, although the widgets aren't really crawled. But for the results and details, we do the next best thing, which is a 404 error with official 404 headers that tell the search engine, oh, okay, these don't need to be crawled. Let's go back to the site and let's find the pages that do need to be crawled. Okay, and again, if you look at this page and this link, do 404s hurt my site? 404s are a perfectly normal part of the web. The internet is always changing. This is directly from Google. So, just wanted to highlight that because we do get questions around that, and people that are really concerned about those reports and the 404s. A transitionary thing, it would happen with any migration to any IDX product. I think that the important thing is to keep in mind that, if you're doing things correctly on your new site, you're putting a sitemap in the footer, you're getting your custom links all linked up, I think you're going to be just fine. All right, so covered that, and hopefully it didn't confuse too many people. If you have any questions about that, feel free to call us, and we can go over some of that in more detail, additional detail. So in terms of custom subdomain, and if you don't have a custom subdomain now, and let's say you're set up on idxco.com, so your old domain is something idxco.com, we recommend that you actually set up a custom subdomain. And there's a good article in this migration FAQ that talks about how to set that up. It's going to be helpful because you can set it up as search.yoursite.com, right? So it'll be a custom subdomain off of your site. And again, for those of you that don't have that in IDX Broker Original, now's a good time to do it when you migrate to Platinum. I covered the downtime a little bit. You'll notice that during the downtime, what will happen is after we ship your Platinum account, your billing date will remain the same. So you'll just be billed. It'll move over to you being billed in Platinum. So you'll get a Platinum billing email rather than the original, the one that we send in IDX Broker Original, and that happens. Just because even though you're only billed once, it happens because we're transitioning you over to Platinum. Question here is, do you need a designer to help you? And the answer is yes, and in some regards, if you are, if you have a lot of custom CSS, if you're working with a designer now, I would contact that designer, and especially if they're a developer partner of ours, contact them and say, hey, I'd like to move over, blah, blah, blah. That some of the designers are not 100% on Platinum, or they're not entirely familiar with, or their systems are not built for Platinum just yet, but we're almost to the point where almost 100% of them are. And so what you want to do is contact your designer if you work with one of our developer partners, and have them work on it. If you are a retail account and you don't have a developer partner and you feel like, hey, I'd love to get somebody who's an expert who can do this. I'd love to have them kind of migrate this for me or handle this for me. We have a great list of partners on our website, and you'll see that in the Partners tab. And you can see that list, and you can contact one of the partners, and they can help you with my whole migration. So, another question is, will the custom search pages still work? Yes, those are the custom search form. I'm sorry, I'm confusing the custom links with custom search. Custom search form will not change, but you can modify. So in other words, it won't be ported over. But if you've built a custom search, it's really easy to build it in Platinum, in IDX Broker Platinum, and there's some additional functionality in Platinum, which is one of the reasons why we weren't able to port that over. And then something else worth noting is that on the mobile side of things, Platinum is very different from a mobile standpoint. So, we built Platinum to work on any device, and really it mimics the mobile experience of the My Agent application, but without the requirement of having to enter an agent code or anything like that. So you're really, you're able to use what we call mobile wrappers in IDX Broker Platinum. So, and you can turn those on or you can turn them off. They're on by default, and what they do is they take the user to basically a map search that looks a lot like the My Agent app, and then with your header information at the top, you've got your logo there, phone number, very similar functionality. The advantage is that in Platinum it works not just on iOS devices, but all devices, Android too, and then it also will resize based on the device. So it'll resize to, for an iPhone or an iPad or an iPad mini, or an Android device. So it'll resize. And then there's also some lead capture functionality that people are really going to like. You have the option of, people have the option of contacting you through that mobile application experience. And that wasn't possible with the My Agent app. What you're losing with the My Agent app should be more than compensated for by what you're gaining in terms of being able to direct all traffic, all mobile traffic, to those pages, and then actually capturing those leads through the mobile experience. So that's the direction we've gone with Platinum, and that's one of the primary features for the product. So just to create some clarity around that. So I see that we've got some questions here around direct links and so on, and redirects. Some of those I can answer offline. So those of you that may be waiting for an answer, and we'll answer that offline. I may also put some notes or responses in the automated response that goes out with the webinar details. So I might just make some points in there as well for those of you that have very complex questions that require me not being in the middle of the webinar to answer. So. Let's go to steps. So once you go through the FAQ, and again, I posted the link in the little chat box. Once you go through the FAQ, it'll take you to you can click to steps to migrating to IDX Broker Platinum, and that'll take you to the core steps. Okay, consider the details. That's basically, maybe reread the migration FAQ, make sure you understand things, make sure you understand, what may or may not be a surprise. It should be fairly clear, especially when you look at what does migrate and what doesn't. Again, you'll have 30 days where we don't charge you for 2 accounts, but keep them both open. So you'll have an opportunity and you'll have time to figure that out. And then again, choosing the custom subdomain. We recommend that you choose a custom subdomain. There's a link there. So you've got step 0, step 1. Now step 2 is the actual migration itself. And this is what you guys are probably waiting for. Where do I do this? How do I migrate this? It's really just a link that we don't link to this page in your control panel, in your current IDX Broker original control panel. It can only be found in this knowledge base article, and when you're logged in, you can see it. But you have to click on the steps for migration, and then you have to go to step 2, and then you click on that. Okay. Now, if you can't find this for some reason, you can always email help@idxbroker.com, and somebody will send you that link. But that's the link that you see. Just read through that. Again, it's a reiteration of what's in the knowledge base and what's in the FAQ, and so that's you'll just want to read that and make sure you read everything, and then agree to the Platinum terms, and then this is where you'll create a new subdomain. So let's say you have a new custom subdomain, you want to create that, you can do that there. Now note that a custom subdomain is you'll want to read that article as well, because if you have GoDaddy or you manage your own domains, or you have a designer. You'll need to either talk to the designer or go into the GoDaddy account and create a new subdomain before you add it here. So adding it here doesn't actually magically make the subdomain. You have to go in and create it first. And then just backing up a little bit before I go any further, I do have a couple questions here that I want to address. So a good question is when the subdomain change is made or when the saved links are redirected, well, if you have any Google PPC campaigns, should those require link changes? And the answer is yes. You can use the 301s, but that's kind of what that 30-day window is for. Move those over, replace them. Get the actual links in there that you want, because while those are 301s, they're less than ideal compared with the actual link itself. There's also, and this is a very small delay. Our systems are very quick, and our servers are very quick, and Platinum is hosted on the cloud. But there can be, mostly on the browser side, just a very slight delay, very milliseconds in doing that redirect. So that's probably the primary reason why you would want to swap out all those links, and then also swap out the links on your website. Again, not an emergency if you can't do it, or for whatever reason it takes a couple months. In that case, just focus on swapping out your widgets, and then swapping out any sort of results or custom results that you might have that might not be custom links. Again, the custom links do 301 redirects. So the custom links, the standard links, all 301 redirects. So we've taken a lot of the work out of it, and so that 30-day window doesn't create that many emergencies aside from just the widgets. And that's where you would want to focus. Probably most of your effort is get those widgets replaced. And then another question around the smartphone app, and is it considered responsive design? That is a great question, because responsive, and for those of you may understand what responsive is or have heard responsive design thrown around as an idea. It is considered a responsive design in the sense that it is responsive ready. A responsive design is a design where, let's say your homepage, if somebody comes to your homepage from an iPhone, that homepage, the CSS displayed, or the CSS used to display to that iPhone, changes the whole layout to be what's called responsive. So simplifies it, makes it more like a simple sort of app experience, but in a way that is usually tied to a specific library. So you might have a library of, and again, hopefully I'm not losing many of you on this one, but the library really defines what the responsive design will look like. Now, we've created our own wrappers, our own mobile wrappers that are almost like a library for responsiveness that makes it responsive in the sense that we're taking the design, we're taking a wrapper and wrapping it around a different template when people come to the mobile site. Now, to make a fully responsive design and site, what you would want to do is you'd really want to work with a designer that, number one, is skilled at that, because we're still early in the game when it comes to responsive design. Number two, to be fully responsive, again, our Platinum is responsive ready, so to be fully responsive, the original website needs to be responsive. If that original website is responsive, then all the CSS and all the everything around that site then gets ported over to IDX Broker Platinum. You can turn off the mobile wrappers in IDX Broker Platinum, and then go with use the templates and combine that with the mobile design of the website. So there are some themes that do this now. There are some designers that are kind of on the cutting edge. Again, pretty cutting edge in terms of, if you're trying to get everything to work seamlessly, you'll probably want to turn off the mobile wrappers. The mobile wrapper is really designed to be more for creating that mobile experience for those of you that had the My Agent app and you really want something that looks like an app experience. But you have a choice. You can turn that off, and then you can go with responsive ready. And then if you have a responsive website, a primary website, then you can apply some CSS to the mobile CSS and the templates that make that fully responsive. So Again, I'm sure I lost a bunch of people on that. I apologize. You can always replay it afterwards. We've recorded it. And it's a very complex topic, but one that I think was a good one to bring up, and I appreciate that question. So a question around changing websites. Another question here: how do I update the global wrapper if I'm changing websites? If you're changing websites, the global wrapper will get ported over automatically when you migrate. How do I change the global wrapper or update it? You would go into Platinum under, in the global, in the wrappers area, and you would change it there. So it's very similar in the sense that you go in and in the control panel and you apply changes to the wrapper. And then another question here is again around partners, and do we have a partner? Yes, we have a list of partners on our website. If you don't have if you're not working with one of our partners now, we definitely recommend it when you're doing a migration. That would be a great way to make sure the bases are covered. If not, again, if you just want to keep it simple, you can still do that. Just know that we're doing a redirect for most of the existing links on your site, except for the widgets. The widgets you're going to want to swap out. So just for simplicity's sake, keep that in mind if you're not going to work with one of the partners. And then the rest you can kind of work out and review the knowledge base over time. Okay, so I got through a few of those questions. That's good. So the pricing structure, I mentioned that it changes. With Platinum, it's $59.99 a month. There's no setup fee with you migrating. So you don't pay a setup fee unlike anybody who signs up for Platinum now with our new website. And then once you get migrated over to Platinum, you're basically, you're given a login, and you have a username and a login, and then you log in, and you have an experience that's similar to what you had with IDX Broker Original. So you have a dashboard, you have traffic stats, so you can see that here. It's just a bit more modern design, and we've added new features as well. For offices, we've added a tremendous number of features actually, because for offices you can, especially you can come in and you can import users, so you can import your agents into Platinum from the system, and then that actually imports the agent email address as well. And from that page, you can also send the agents their username and login. So there's a little envelope that you click that just where you can send the username and login for the agent. Pretty straightforward, pretty slick. You can click on that and it'll send the password. So some changes there. And then I'll get into some more changes here in a minute after I continue to answer some of these questions. Clarification around showcases and whether showcases or widgets will show up on the site. And the answer is no. Those showcases, once you've migrated, and again, this is after you have that 30-day window period. So as soon as we send you the Platinum credentials, there's no need to panic over, definitely over losing those widgets or having those widgets stop serving. Those will continue to work on your site until the end of that 30-day period. But at that point, they will be shut off. And with the widgets, we provide a kind of a standard list of widgets. So you've now got your featured showcase widget. That's a standard widget that's now provided, right? And then you can copy that script in, and you just copy and paste. You copy the old widget with the new widget script is basically what you do. And again, we've got some default widgets here that you can pull from. So you don't have to go in and just add widgets and then create your own widget from scratch. We do provide those defaults for you. So a lot of the defaults that are in IDX Broker Original are available here. One of the other widgets that you're going to like is that's available here, and I don't see it, so it looks like somebody deleted it here, but there's there's a new concept or new type of widget called a map search widget, and this widget allows you to put a map. You can create a map widget and then put that on your home page, or put that on any page. You just put the URL in here of the page that you're going to put it on, and that way you can define the width and height of the widget, and so you can have a map that's outside of the map search. So that's pretty helpful in terms of widgets. And then you can come in here and if you want to create a widget, you just create it here. Now, if you're an office, let's see if we have one of the major feature changes for offices as well is that you can have a showcase widget, and you can actually showcase the properties for an agent. So you can have the featured agent properties for agent A, B, or C. Just choose your agent and then the widget name and the width and blah, 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 and build the widget. And now you've got a showcase that features only that agent's properties. And you can give that to the agent, and then they can feature that on their site, and then it'll link back and provide links back to the site, to your site. And then, of course, send any leads would then come through your system, your IDX. So some pretty new features there. Now I have a question here about what are the major differences between original and platinum. That's a great question. We get that question a lot, and we're working now on a comparison table that will go over some of those details in depth, like side by side. Like here's what you get with original, here's what you get with platinum. I can tell you that the biggest change is just with the mobile. On the mobile side of things, and that our mobile traffic in Platinum has exploded. We're seeing a lot more of that mobile traffic being converted into real traffic, versus if somebody has to download an app and then that app doesn't have, let's say it doesn't have the lead capture built in. It's all integrated with Platinum, so you have that lead capture is built in, plus you get the with the mobile traffic, you're getting the lower bounce rates, and we're just, as I said, we're seeing a lot of mobile traffic on Platinum, a lot of mobile devices. So you're capturing that. That's probably the biggest feature. The other feature is some of these office features that I highlighted, being able to feature the agents' own listings. The fact that it's hosted on the cloud, it's very quick, very fast delivery. And results and details. You can also customize a lot of things. So you can come in and create. Let's say you want a new page. And then to answer a question for another question related to migration. So what are the major differences, but also and the advantages? But what also is, do you have any plans? Do we have any plans to stop producing IDX Broker Original? And the answer is no. If you like Original and you're happy with paying what you're paying and you want to stay on the system, that's great. We fully support Original. It's a great product. It's very it's not as new, but it's also a very sort of stable product with a lot of great features. So I would say, if you want to stick with Original, you're welcome to do that. On the Platinum side, what we have is, and again, not to imply that Platinum is unstable. It's definitely, now that we're out of beta, it's a highly stable product. It just hasn't had years and years and years of development behind it. But that's kind of the exciting part. So I would say that if you qualify yourself as a first mover, an early adopter, they say, that's the term for somebody that wants to take a little extra risk, maybe see an extra reward in terms of being able to get ahead of things, get ahead of mobile, get ahead of where the market is going. You could go with Platinum. If you're pretty happy with IDX Broker Original, you're happy with your leads, you don't want to go through the headache of migrating, feel free to stick with IDX Broker Original. You can always migrate at any point. There's no, there's not going to be any reason for you to migrate off Original, and so it'll all be up to you. And so you could always wait if you're less or more risk averse and you want to stick with what you know. then you can take some time and learn the product, and then decide once maybe once we add the feature that just makes it for you. So again, both products are available, and there's no reason to migrate unless you really are sort of self-selecting and you really want to migrate and try something new. So so here we look at the new search page. This is a pretty cool new feature. So we have a bunch of templates here that you can choose, and then once you choose a template, let's say I want to choose the scroll text boxes. Now I can give that a name, and this is text boxes, so you have check boxes here. Sorry, not text boxes, check boxes. You can give it a page name, and then it shows the URL. You can name the URL. Now, do you want it to be search across multiple MLSs? Do you want just one? And then once you complete that, then it takes you back to, I'm not going to create a page today, but it takes you back here, and then you can edit that page. So one of the things that you can do with edits that's pretty powerful is that actually I'm going to back up, and I want to take a look at Homes, Homes is basically the advanced search. It's the equivalent of the advanced search in Original. This is a really cool feature. Besides the lead registration at the page level, and that's for all pages, you can set up request or force at the page level. Here we have advanced fields are on, and when you turn on the advanced fields, actually, first of all, you can come in here and you can hide things. So you can hide certain elements from the page. So you have a lot more that you can do without having to know CSS. So you don't have to do set display none. Just come in here and edit the page, edit this the page level details. The other thing is you can do is if you go to advanced fields, let's say for this MLS residential, I want to, for those advanced fields, I want to set, well, first of all, let's hide that. That doesn't need to be there. But let's say I want to set a default. So I want to set a default value. So let's say I want this page. Now I wouldn't do this to my, for the main advanced search or home page, but let's say I want to set a default hidden value of condos. So I want only condos to show up when someone hits this search. So then I go here and I just choose condo, and I can make condo either the default or I can make it a hidden value. So default means that it shows up, and then the user could go in and say, no, I want condo and detached or something. Hidden means that it's completely hidden. They can't see it. The user can't see it, that field, and so they can't search it. But when you name that page, you could call it condo search. And so now you can create multiple pages that are based on specific searches. So you have a lot of just a lot of control over what kind of links you put up on your site. So pretty powerful option there. And then just taking a look over here, I'm going to go through some of the again, some of the differences so that you're clear on how that works. We have a new feature in Platinum, and this is actually fairly recent. This is called, so in IDX Broker Original, when let me back up. IDX Broker Original, if you, let's say James Schmidt signs up through, he signs up but he fills out a property request form. He doesn't create an account with you, right? There's no account created. You don't have a way to send him an email. In IDX Broker Original, you have to actually go in and create an account, create an email for him, and then and then send him those credentials and do that all manually. With Platinum, the way it handles it is when they come in, if they don't come in through the sign up form, or they don't come in and you haven't set them up already with an account, you have this little no account option. So when you click on that, it'll confirm that you're wanting to send account credentials to that person, and it'll send a default account credential email out to that person, and then you'll see a little envelope show up here, and then that person will have an account, and then you can convert them to safe. They can let's say you save a search for them or you save properties, that will then generate emails for them. So you can convert accounts from just contacts, basic contacts, into actual accounts, which is something new in Platinum. The other thing that that you can do is, of course, you've got this envelope, so you can send the credentials to the lead. But the other thing it does is, once an account is created, you can, if somebody saves a search, they go in and save a search, that search will be, let's take a look at, property. So this person has saved a property, right? A couple properties. If the price changes on this property or this one, those property details will go out to that person. So they'll receive the property details saying, hey, the price went from 210 to 205 or something. And so that's another feature in Platinum. And these are really the major features. There are probably 2 to 3 dozen other features that are smaller features that are available. For those of you that are kind of on the fence and want to learn, add some new features or want to take that risk, there's a full list on our website. So if you go to the IDX Broker website, you'll see the full list there. And let's take a look. Go to the knowledge base. We'll go here. So if you go to, let's go to features. So if you go here, you'll see, and here there's a little thing. We're going to replace this with something else, but for now it says new, and the new is basically telling you, this is new. This is a new feature in IDX Broker Platinum. So if you're curious what's new and you want to really look that up, you can do that here on our page. And we're constantly adding to this features list, and it's big. Direct ACH billing, that's now available. A message center, I'll show you the message center. We can get back there. The message center is great because it tells you, whoops, I think it's here, account. So the message center shows you all the updates, the emails, the actual emails that have gone out. So, all the emails and the details in each email. And so you can see, so you have a record of everything, and our system saves all that information. So a question, I have another question here backing up about the price change email. Now that we're on emails, let's talk about it. It's a good segue. The property change emails, and that goes out immediately. So that actually brings up another good point. With Platinum, we have, if your MLS runs a RETS feed, and RETS means that, real estate transaction standard, it means that generally we can get update more than once a day. FTP is usually just a file that we pull. We download the file and then we create, we make updates. RETS means that we can pull multiple times a day, and so that's, if you have a RETS feed in your account or your MLS that has RETS, then right now we're in Platinum, we're pulling twice a day. We're aiming to increase that to be somewhere between 4 to 6 hours, every 4 to 6 hours, do an update. Now you also have control over those emails, so you can say, I don't want to blast people every 4 hours. I want to send the emails every day, something like that. So you do have control over that, but the price change email would go out as soon as our system discovers that, to answer that question. So this is another one for Office's individual bio page wrappers. So Offices you can wrap the bio page independently of the system. Great new feature. You have a roster layout manager, and I'll go through a few of these. The agent import, that's another important feature. One of the biggest features, and this is for both, both accounts, both Office accounts and agent accounts, is that you can control, or you can create a details URL that's based on the address, city name, state, zip, all that. So you have the option of creating a new type of URL that actually has keywords in the URL, and this is for details pages. So we've never had that in IDX Broker Original. We didn't have that option. It was an option for the title tags and the meta descriptions, but we didn't have the option of changing the actual URL itself so that it would have the keywords in the URL. So let's back up here. So I have another question here about the subdomain and whether results or details pages receive SEO credit. We get that question a lot around subdomains, custom subdomains, and there's actually I don't have the link here, but there's on our WordPress plugin page, there are some details around that. There's a link to Google where Matt Cutts, representative of Google, talks a little bit about how subdomains, subdomains and subfolders are basically treated the same way, so they don't harm indexing in any way. So a page is going to be, whether it's in a subfolder or a subdomain, it will be treated the same way by Google when they index. And I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. Is we get this question a lot, and I think it's because there's just a lot of confusion and maybe even misinformation out there around how much a custom subdomain is going to punish or cause damage to the primary domain. There is no evidence that a custom subdomain is going to cause any damage or hurt your chances of getting that page indexed, whether it's on the custom subdomain or on the primary domain. And that either way, you own that, both the domain, the primary domain, and the custom subdomain. And I think a good example of that is when, a good comparison is we have people that, we've talked to people that use individual property websites, and those are separate domains, just like a custom subdomain. But there is no perception that that's somehow hurting their primary domain. If they have multiple sites, they're just multiple sites. There's no damage being done. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind, especially with the subdomains and and then when it comes to ranking of pages, I think a lot of that can come down to what sort of backlinks do you have in place? Do you have and you may want to talk to one of our developer partners about ranking, or if you're having ranking issues with the IDX pages, because there's certainly we have some sites that are getting almost 200,000 pages indexed, and like 500 of those are their own pages, if that. I mean, the rest are IDX pages. It's not that unusual to see, generally in the a few months in, especially 20 to 60,000 pages indexed, and that just means that the pages are getting crawled. Google's seeing those pages, and and again, a lot of it comes down to whether you're creating custom content, doing all the right things on the SEO side of things. We do have some SEO webinars that might be helpful for those of you that are curious about the SEO side of things as well, and that you can find those in the YouTube channel. And those are generally specific to Platinum, because we've made some changes on the SEO side with Platinum. So a question here about the custom subdomain, since we're on that. The question is, does the custom subdomain have to be set up with a vendor hosting the website before migrating to Platinum? Yes. If you're going to set up a custom subdomain, you have to set that up in GoDaddy or wherever you set that up. You definitely have to set that up in advance. And there's an article in that migration FAQ. There's a link to an article that tells you where you point that subdomain. I think it's subdomains.idxbroker.com. But you'll want to refer to that article just in case. And then once that's set up, then you can go into Platinum. And one of the new features in Platinum is we automatically check that. So when you turn that on, we'll verify that it actually works. That isn't the case during migration, so that migration tool will not do a check, perform a check. But if you ever change in the future, let's say you just go with the standard subdomain to start, and then you change to a custom subdomain in Platinum, Platinum will detect whether that custom subdomain is set up correctly. So you know, and going through here, you know, there's a new for those of you on WordPress, there's a new plugin. So you know, the new plugin allows you to it's tied in with the API, and actually, let's take a look at that link. So the new plugin, for those of you that work with WordPress, the new plugin works so you can have the old plugin in your system, and at the same time that you add the new plugin. So you can add the Platinum plugin, and they both will work at the same time. What you'll want to do is uncheck and remove the widgets that were created by the old plugin, and then when you activate the new plugin, you can keep the old one active, but just make sure all those links and all those widgets are removed. And this really makes it easy, the whole migration pretty easy, because then you can come into the Platinum plugin, and you know, and then any widgets that have been created in the widget system will automatically be pulled in to the Platinum plugin, and then you can drag and drop those in your sidebar. So makes it pretty easy to do the migration if you have WordPress, for sure. You know, those of you that are working in WordPress, and then you know, you can download. Here's the link to the Platinum plugin. For those of you that are curious, I'll send that out to the entire audience. And that you know, again, that is that's available on WordPress.org. And we just issued an update, so we've had a lot of downloads recently, and we're going to continue. And this year we're going to continue to develop on that plugin. So we're, you know, expect to see some new things in there. So we'll close that. And again, back to this. Those of you that have SEO questions, I would recommend going to the Google Webmaster Central blog spot and just check out the Google blog. It's a great place to start. You can subscribe there and so on. So a great place for SEO information. So with that said, we're nearing the end of the webinar, and I do want to, before wrapping it up, I want to make sure that I've covered as much as possible here, and that you know, you're not left with less information than you should. So we have, yeah, and looking at the widget manager. That's a new feature. Again, this page, and I'll send this page out as well. So here's a link to our Platinum page, Platinum details page, and take it from there. And and yes, I'm getting quite a few questions from people that are, you know, they just may not want to deal with the technical aspect of this, of Platinum. In that case, here's our partner list. And I'll send that as well. That's the full link to the partners. So, and that the partners should, you know, any one of those partners should be able to help you with that migration. And then backing up, we do have another question about emails. Is there an email that goes out to let people about new listings with the search criteria? Absolutely. That is under a saved search. That's the same functionality that's in IDX Broker Original. If there you know, is a new listing that comes into the market, it's going to show up if there's a saved search set up. So with that said, we've reached the end of our time limit here, and I appreciate you going through the webinar with me. And again, there's going to be a recording. I've recorded the webinar. We'll get it uploaded within a day or two. And then we'll take it from there. And any questions that I wasn't able to answer here, I'll get back to you with, but I tried to cover most of it. So anyway, thank you again for attending, and have a great day.